All right, game plan. Game plan. Interesting part, right? Always interesting. How do I look at the pass game, right? So overall, I like to group it into concept families, all right, pass game families. So what pass game family do they mainly fall into? I got a couple examples. Um, at the end, I'll kind of go through all the groupings that I use, but horizontal, vertical, inside stack, right? RPO game. When did they like to use it? Where did they like to use it? How often they use it? I think Indy's a great example. They implemented a lot of their offensive scheme in their run game has RPO elements off of it. So you always account for who's the extra overhang player in the box, right? If it's us as a buzz player, we got to be accounting for that. Like their RPO reading off us, right? For the pick flat, right? So we just got to know, right? As a run pass off a box count, really that shows up a lot more when you're playing air raid teams. Like if we get this guy extended from the box, they're going to run it and hand it. And do they repeat concepts or are they game? So is every week different for them based off of the team that they're playing and the identity of the defense that they're seeing? Or do they have a core group of routes that hey, no matter what, they are carrying this set of routes every game, right? I like to look at concepts by down and distance. I think that's everywhere across the league, right? Everywhere across all levels of football, all right? So that's your P and 10, right? All the way down to your second and long, all the way into your third, short, medium, long, extra long, all those situations, 2 minute. And what I really like to do is I like to pad those things. So I'll take out pen and paper, right? Now it's on the iPad with a virtual pen, but I literally you create those cut ups. I sit down and I draw them out. I write the down and distance at the top. I write the situation at the top, personnel group, and then old school New England, Nick Saban, all the like, just pad it out. And what you typically understand is you start to understand who's running routes where. You start to see bigger picture things like, oh, they really love this guy on this specific concept, or they really like this concept and this down and distance. And it really shortens, right? It expands your knowledge of the game in probably a fair amount of time. For me, better process. May not be a better process for everyone, but I will speak to the fact that it has a lot of good on it's a lot of good on that side and a lot of things you can add to your game as a coach by doing so. Okay. Um, where and when do they like to take shots? Where and when do they like to take shots? For us in the league, is a lot of it is first play across the 50. I'm sure it's the same because when I was coaching on offense, we did the same thing. First play across 50, hey, let's call a shot. Right. So just understanding when and where they like to take shots so we can have a high alert on that situation. And then what shots do they like to take when they're in that situation? Right. What are the problem concepts that we need to rep this week? That we need to walk through, that we need to see, rep, and walk through it. So we need a mental rep, we need a walkthrough rep, and we need a full speed rep. And I'll kind of go to my teaching progression here in a second. Okay. What are their stack and bunch concepts? Because we have to understand what our checks are. Most defenses carry 1 to 2 checks versus in coverage versus a bunch, and 1 to 2 checks in man coverage versus a bunch or a stack. Right? They know that. So they're watching the same cut up of bunches and stacks and saying, okay, hold on, we can run this concept because they always check quarters versus bunch. Or they're always playing cover 2 versus to the bunch side. So they can get you in things that are unfamiliar. What routes do they like? How can we rep it versus us? And then what can we call to be better prepared for what they run? Right? Then the self-scout. What hurt us in the past this season, right? Last week, so that we spend a lot of time here on this, and I think it's important because we have to clean up our own mistakes. If somebody runs grab post with a dig and a post, and we, as a quarter safety, we keep biting down and they keep throwing the long ball over our head, it's going to keep happening and keep happening and keep happening until we do something about it. So the only way we can do something about it is to do something about it. Let's work on it. All right, let's keep growing it. All right, and then where are our top coverage? What are our top coverages and our adjustments for the week? All right, do we need to install something new, or can we just, our coverage adjustments work fine versus this team and how they like to attack, so we're solid, or do we need to draw something up out of the dirt or pull something out of the playbook this a little further back that we haven't repped in a couple weeks, right? Those are the conversations that we like to have. So just some simple questions. Try to try to narrow down some yes nos, and then some situations where you're drawing some stuff out. But really, just try to answer all those questions as we're going throughout the week.